It is time for the Hodge Pack, sports, life, and everything in between with Josh, Misty, and Hodge. Going live, three, two, one.
Good morning and welcome to the Hodge Pack, sports, life, and everything in between. Right here on 106.9, the Country Giant. We're brought to you by Lotta Land and Cattle, where you can get the Hodge Pack advertiser. Order it this weekend. Order it today. We're hanging out in our Potosi Live studio. Hodge, Josh is here. Misty on her way. We're glad that you're with us. Hope you had a great Valentine's Day. We'll hear stories of Josh's romantic day. I'm sure it's just fantastic.
No one told me like was this pop quiz?
Well,
I don't have any stories.
do you not remember what Wednesday was like?
It was just Wednesday.
Wednesday, maybe Monday, not much different. Hey, but we're glad that you're with us, and the love of football is over on the field, and it's moving to off the field. But we do have Super Bowl champions. We do have stuff. We'll go through our Super Bowl thoughts, our takeaways from the Super Bowl 58, and also just the season. As the season comes to an end, what we took away from the entirety of the 2023 NFL season. We'll dive into that. Pitchers and catchers have reported. Baseball is up and rolling, and we'll be looking into that as well. But lots to cover. Misty will have her bag. We'll talk Super Bowl commercials. A lot of Super Bowl talk just as we recover, move forward, as we get ready to start looking to the next. It's our year for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll start looking at that and just really the year of the Super Bowl, Josh. It was a good. It's what I think. I don't know about you. I mean, I'm not giving away a whole lot what we'll talk about later, but it was what I wanted. It was a good game. It was a close game. It took a little bit to get going. It was almost like nobody really wanted to score.
That's very true.
But it was a good game. Josh had some folks over. We watched the game there, and then of course just. Again, Super Bowl champions again, Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs do it for a second time in a row, and they'll try to do what nobody has done in the NFL, and that's win 3 in a row next year. But they'll have to wait to do that as the offseason again is kicked off and started. But again, we got a lot to cover. A big announcement at 7:30. With a guest that we'll have next week. I'll make that announcement at 7:30. But let's dive into our Lawrence Hall headline report. Josh, big week this week. A couple things I want to talk about golf. I know you love it. But last week, the Super Bowl of golf, the party of golf, the People's Tournament, the Waste Management. Nick Taylor wins that in playoff fashion. It was exciting. It was more exciting early on. It was great timing. It was kind of finishing as the Super Bowl was starting. But Nick Taylor beats Charlie Hoffman in the Waste Management. The interesting thing about that is I talked to a buddy of mine that went to it. Of course, I know Moy went from Potosi Live, but was talking about how the weather was an issue and there was way too many people at that thing. Josh, I know you've gone to a few golf tournaments probably in the past. Is that one you would want to go to?
If I was going to go to one, yeah, seems like it'd be a good time.
Oh, good time is definitely about habits. You would have to pace yourself and
throw a beer at me, and I wouldn't like that.
Well, I would like to know that question of how many bar fights start at the Waste Management.
Well, they're chucking stuff in the stands. I mean, not everyone can be happy about that.
Well, but just the beer being poured on you, knocked into you.
Oh yeah.
Jefferson, a buddy of mine, Jefferson went and said it was just so packed. And then the weather, they stopped letting people. They got to a point where they weren't even checking tickets. It was such a cluster. There's a lot of people. I understand it's the big party of the year, but I think at some point you'd think you would cut that off a little bit and not have too many people. But that's the case. I mean, I do want to go. It's one of those tournaments outside the majors that I want to go to. And so hopefully one day I will end up in Phoenix. Continue with golf. Genesis Open this kicked off yesterday. Tiger Woods is back. Shot a 1 over yesterday. Had some back spasm at the end. He actually shanked one, which makes me feel good. If the greatest golfer of all time can shank one, that means so can I. But he shot 1 over. Leading in the tournament is Patrick Cantlay at 7 under, followed by Jason Day. Jordan Spieth with a 5 under yesterday, and Tom Kim. I mentioned Tom Kim because that is now who Paul Tesori, friend of the show, is caddying with, shot 2 under. So Paul and Tom are out there in LA in the Genesis Open. We'll see how Tiger plays today. It is an elevated event, and so it's a big deal. Tiger Woods came out with a new brand. Josh, did you see that?
I did not see that.
Sunday Red is now his new brand. He and Nike no longer together.
Right.
We'll talk about Nike when we get to the baseball, because apparently some people are not big fans of the new Nike jerseys in Major League Baseball. But anyway, Tiger Woods, Sunday Red is out. Feel free to go buy it. The Tiger looks weird. It looks like it's like it's a skeleton of a look at Tiger, and it looks like I don't know. It's just weird. It's
Maybe
weird.
it's just because he's a skeleton of his former self.
That is true. Tiger, feel free to use that, and we will. You don't want to do that, Tiger. NFL news. A couple of things this week in the coaching world. Mike Zimmer is coming back as the DC for the Dallas Cowboys. There was talks of Rex Ryan being in the running for that, and it looks like a former Cowboy who had a stint there as a DC, and that's really what got him the head coaching job for the Minnesota Vikings. And so we'll see can he take the defense to the next level. Your thoughts on that hire?
I mean, I think it's okay. I'm good with it. There was, for some reason, it just seemed like we had talked about a little bit last week that all the names that were coming up were older kind of retreads, and I don't know who the young up and comer might be. Zimmer will probably do a fine job.
Well, the up and comers were somebody. I mean, I'm like you. I don't know who they are, and if they were an up and comer, they're now head coaches. McDonald from the Ravens to Seattle. I mean, those people are becoming head coaches.
Right.
So, I mean, and again, I'm okay with it. The bottom line is you got to figure out how do you continue to do well. And we talk about quarterbacks in the NFL, which we rightfully should. You've got to figure out, as Mike Zimmerman, how do you figure out to make Micah Parsons continue to get better and make everybody around him get better? And how do you utilize him and not put him in a spot where he is easily blocked? You've got to find a way to make him the most effective player on your defense.
Oh, I agree. And moving him around to different spots seems to be when he is at his best. So
hopefully he'll do that again. NFL season on the field is off, but over, but the off season has begun. It is off. Yeah. Steve Wilks fired as the San Francisco defensive coordinator. I thought this was a very, I don't want to draw attention to myself firing, because again, we'll talk Super Bowl, but I just don't understand a defense who played well, forced field goals. Yes, they gave up a couple of touchdowns to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, but I would think that overall Wilks did a good job, and now he's out of a job. And I think it's one of those, again, Kyle Shanahan pointing fingers somewhere else.
Well, I think that anytime there's a situation that goes off the rails, so to speak, and somebody has to be blamed, it gets to that just like that. Somebody has to take the fall, take the brunt of the blame. And I'm not saying that they necessarily needed to fire somebody, but that there was a lot to be answered for in the way San Francisco closed out that football game.
From coin toss to finish.
Well, yeah. So that's the way they decided to go. I'm sure he'll get another job.
He's kind of been hosed. Steve Wilks, his history is he had 1 year at the Cardinals, and they canned him. They drafted Josh Rosen. They canned him, brought in Kingsbury, and then after bringing in Kingsbury, he goes off and finds a job, and he ends up with the Panthers. They fire Matt Rule. He becomes the interim at Carolina. They go on a decent run, win some games down the stretch, and they don't give the job to him. They give it to Frank Reich, and now they're just a revolving door for coaches. So Steve Wilks,
he's okay with getting out of there, honestly, probably.
From Carolina?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't a bad gig, except for the paycheck would have been more, and you could have got a 5-year deal, been terrible in year one, got 4 years of free pay, and,
maybe we should look into that.
When I grow up, I want to be an SEC or college football coach.
Yeah.
And that probably will never happen. Grow up or become a coach. Again, so coaching jobs moving around. A couple other things I want to talk about. Caitlin Clark. You can't really not talk about this lady. You've got a daughter that's playing basketball. Caitlin Clark last night became the leading scorer. I don't know if you saw the shot that she made it on. logo three, drains it. She needed 8 points last night. She goes for 49.
Right.
Now has 3,569 points. And she is one of those that has drawn, I mean, she's kind of the Steph Curry of college basketball, really maybe Steph Curry of women's basketball. Forget college basketball.
Oh, I think you're right on the second point.
I mean,
more
she
people
is,
know about her than anybody in the WNBA.
I mean, they are watching her play and they are tuning in. Last year, her and Angel Reese and LSU and Iowa in the semifinals last year was one of the most watched telecasts ever, way more than the NBA was being watched. And she, I mean, it just bombed it. And so, what do you think that means for kids like Molly and Collins? I know Misty's listening and dropping her off at school. Actually, they don't have school today. What she's doing is teacher work day. Teacher work day. They're working.
Someone
hard.
said that, and I was like, "What? I don't." Monday's a holiday.
Yeah, students get a long weekend, teachers short weekend. Well, I guess long weekend with a Monday, but the kids not at school today. But what do you think? Somebody like Caitlin, what she's doing.
Well, it's obviously inspiring because
But I mean, name a female athlete since Serena's out.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are a few that become national sensations. You're like, and Mia Hamm did for a while when soccer was kind of.
See, the ones I remember, and we got about a little over a minute, is Mia Hamm, Jenny Finch,
yes,
from the softball world. I go back to Serena and Venus, but really, there's nobody. No, there's one we're going to announce at the bottom of the hour, but kind of Caitlin's kind of taken that spot. You got Simone Biles and some gymnasts that pop in, but for the most part, Caitlin Clark has been really good for women athletics as a whole.
Well, yes, I mean she has definitely made Iowa a TV draw. You know, that's something that there's
and
not
a ticket draw.
Yes,
if I was coming to a Big Ten town, the tickets skyrocket because people want to watch Caitlin, and she'll be the same thing for the WNBA. She will be the same thing, I think, for the WNBA for people that would want to go watch her play. I know I mean, obviously, but I guarantee you, if you had a chance to go watch the Dallas Wings in Dallas and Molly take her to watch her play, she is like watching a magician just do crazy stuff with the basketball.
Oh, no, I agree. That's for sure.
So Caitlin Clark now, and again, has plenty of couple of games left. To continue to add points to her total of 35-69. Again, hitting a bomb of a three to break the record. Caitlin Clark, dynamic, sensation, shooter, all the things. When we come back, pitchers and catchers have reported we've got a pitcher not signed, but the Rangers start their World Series defense in Arizona, and they're up and rolling. We'll be back right after this.
Caitlin Clark's one of those that, like, when she first burst onto the scene, you know, it was just like, you know, she obviously had been good for a while, but just suddenly out of nowhere it was like superstar. But it did not kind of seem like her attitude and swagger started getting like a little bit hard to bear. Like maybe started like living her own legend a little bit.
Well, and that's the other thing we talked about last night a little bit. You know, I'm betting she's making.
No, I bet she's making a lot of money. Well, now that you can buy a jersey with your name on it and get royalties off of it, like how many people have a 22 Clark jersey? I mean, that game last night, they showed the stands, and it was like, I don't know if they handed them out to everybody or just that was the what you had to wear to come to the game. Which, that is one part of the name, image, likeness thing I do think should happen. If someone wants to buy a jersey with your name on it, you should get a royalty for it.
Well, you know, and that's the other thing we didn't talk about, Morning Randy, in the headline report is EA Sports has come out. The college games coming out in August. The new EA Sports college football.
Yeah.
And those, I think you're going to have guys. It's not going to be whatever number he was at LSU. It'll be Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, that was one of those things that I always hated about college games. They wouldn't put their names on there, but you knew who they were. They were the running back for Texas and had the same number. But it was just whatever. But my favorite was back in the day when the video games had made up names. You remember Ken Griffey Jr.?
I don't remember who the names were, but
they would just have like the guy that was Roger Clemens was like somebody Rocket, they just had not every player had some sort of nickname, but it was stuff like that. And then I do remember a game that had all the right names, but there were certain players that I guess didn't approve to have their name on there. So that player, like Barry Bonds on the Giants, was just left fielder number 25. Like,
I remember. RBI Baseball had the team name and the MLB players. Now they only had a pocket of them.
Yeah, it wasn't
every team. But yeah, RBI Baseball, Little League World Series was a fun game. Bases Loaded was not that fun of a game, but I played it. RBI Baseball 2 had everybody.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about
RBI 3, which was just basically the same.
RBI, the original.
Everyone was short and fat.
Yes. And then the leadoff people were fast. Like Vince Coleman, you could.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back. It is time to clear the bases with our first Bank and Trust Texas Ranger report as we get ready to head into the baseball season is up and rolling. People are drafting in little leagues all around. So people are, trying to load up and, test 40s and check 40s for 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds and all those things with travel, whatever you want to do. But baseball is up and rolling. The Texas Rangers have started their World Series defense out in Arizona as pitchers and catchers reported. And so, Josh, it is here. Excitement is different. Bochy was talking about how everybody's kind of here and ready to roll, and new slate, and Andrew Henney's talking about, and he's exactly right. You don't get an extra run on the board just because you're the World Series champs.
Right. It starts over.
It starts over. Everybody's 0-0, trying to find out. Everybody is feeling like they may have a chance. We didn't think the Rangers were going to be where they ended up. But they did, and that's why you play baseball, and that's why you play all the games and get hot at the right time. And so the Texas Rangers are the defending World Series champs, first time we could ever say that. And so, Josh, as we get rolling, there are some people that aren't ready yet. Was looking at TexasRangers.com. DeGrom started throwing, playing a little catch. Looks like an August return for him, which means we have a lot of baseball in between then and August. And so between now and August to see who's going to fill that rotation. And that's one of the things that Boch even said in the interview that I was listening to. Well, we don't really have it set yet. We're not real sure. You can look at the depth chart. We'll look at that in a moment. But it's kind of one of those. And I know there's more people because I saw them. But on the depth chart, they just have your son look like Jonah Heim as the lone catcher.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, but the Rangers are up and rolling in Arizona. And so I put this in the rundown to ask you, and I'm sure you know the answer. Why is it so important? And now maybe it's just because it's like it needs to be labeled like Black Friday. Pitchers and catchers report to kick off baseball. Why is that such a big deal? Pitchers and catchers report, and why they get there first.
Well, they get there first because there's more to do to get ready, and then they also have more time to do some of the specific drills and things like the PFP is always a big part of that, which pitcher fielding practice. So
thank you for identifying that for those that are driving through Mi Ranchito right now.
Yeah.
Again, get a Mi Ranchito breakfast burrito or taco.
But yeah, so they just need a little bit more time to get going, and they always have a ton of catchers in camp. There's a bunch of guys, minor league guys, get to come to camp. They hire non-roster invitees to have a chance to maybe be that backup catcher, maybe get a gig as the AAA catcher that's ready to come up in case of an injury. Every team does it, and then most of them get cut loose at the end. But I guess they get a little change in their pocket for their time and a chance to make a roster. But it takes a long time for pitchers to build up. Things are different now, I think, than how they used to be, because back in the day, and probably not that long ago, in the sense of how long baseball's been going on, you needed a long spring training and a lot of ramp up time because people didn't do as well as they do now of having a workout routine. They didn't make the type of money that they could pay trainers and nutritionists and all of that to just be with them 365 days a year. But nowadays, people are coming to camp. They're probably already ready. They're on a program. They're scheduled to ramp up their amount of pitches and things like that. And because you hear from a lot of guys like Verlander with the Astros have announced he showed up to camp, and he's behind schedule.
Which is crazy. I mean, they're used to being in the playoffs, the Astros, but they get bounced in the ALCS, and then but for like the Rangers, we've talked about this, is that the start for the Rangers was later because the season went longer. And so
right.
That window of vacation, that window of downtime, that window of, hey, we get to decompress from 162 games, now is decompressing from 100 and, plus times 4.
Yeah, 170.
Yeah, 170 plus games of getting ready to revamp up and understand. And I don't know how you do it. I've never won a World Series. I've never won a state championship when I was coaching or playing. But how do you get revved up back up again to go on the grind of, and I know Misty's gotten here, but like, and I'm not comparing the rings they win every weekend to a World Series, but y'all win a lot, y'all play a lot, and you win tournaments. Getting ramped up to do that every weekend, but you've got this group of guys that are having to get revved up again to do it, knowing that it's a long haul. Yeah, you got a weekend, and yeah, you may have a game at 9 o'clock and then have to get up Saturday morning or Sunday morning and have another game. But just, I guess because it's such a high level that you've got to get ready and know, yes, you make a lot of money. Yes, you get a lot of fame. Yes, it comes with all this stuff. But having to get revved up to get ready to make that run as a World Series champion and do what the Kansas City Chiefs did.
Oh, no, I can't even imagine, because I'm exhausted as a softball mom, and those girls every week, obviously not near the same level. But yeah, no, baseball is grueling, as many games as they play, and the ups and downs. And yeah, it is a crazy season.
Well, and you go back with the spring training, football spring training, yes, they have the OTAs and they have some mandatory stuff that you need to be at, and then they start training camp. But that window of preseason games has gotten shrunk down to even less. And now you look at somebody like baseball, who starting next Friday, I believe the 23rd, the Rangers are starting to play baseball.
Yeah, they play against
the
Royals. It's just kind of, but it really takes a while to, and probably more than any other sport. And I think this is why spring training is important. It's not, like I said, I don't think it's as important as it used to be, but getting your timing and just your hand-eye going and like all in the same thing. Like you can hit in the cage and keep your swing in the right place and things like that. But that timing of picking up pitches is something that just takes, and some people takes more time than others. Some people are notoriously bad in the month of April, like if you look at their stats, and others seem to just jump right in and be okay. So there's that aspect of it. But more than that, it's filling out your roster and seeing people play and trying to decide what your pitching rotation needs to be. Where are your weaknesses? Do you need to go trade for another backup, because this guy didn't take that step that you needed and things like that, so.
Well, and I'm looking at TexasRangers.com right now and Rangers roster and staff, and it shows, and I've just got depth chart up, and you look, and here's your pitcher list for starters or rotation. Uvalde, Andrew Heaney, Dane Dunning, John Gray, and Tyler
Malley, who he's out recovering from Tommy John.
All right, so you got him out. Names that we didn't read off: Max Scherzer, Montgomery, and DeGrom. We mentioned about DeGrom coming back. Looks like he's going to eye August, which is fine because Misty made a very good point. It is a long season, and you've got a big runway, if you will, for that to happen. Only if you can ride the ship and continue to move forward like you did last year without him. But that's why I think Montgomery's one of those you got to find a way to get signed so that you can have that other quality starter to move forward.
Well, starting pitching depth is the place that the Rangers have the most obvious need. You got a lot riding on Tyler Malley and DeGrom and Scherzer, as you mentioned. They have to piece something together to be in contention when those guys can come back. And Tyler Malley missed all of last year, was pretty good for the Twins. Prior to that, looked like a up and coming. He's a younger guy, up and coming. Ace. Got hurt. Rangers signed him knowing that he wouldn't be available till at least the middle of the year. So he's due back earlier than DeGrom is or Scherzer. I don't really have much apprehension about DeGrom being good when he comes back. It's just what that timetable looks like.
I think
you don't
for him,
want to push it and then be out for longer.
To me, for him, it's not. I mean, yes, it's kind of like Tiger. I mean, you want to be well and know to be as good and high level as you possibly can be, but it's not so much being ready to throw in August. Are you going to be able to throw in September because you're still healthy and ready to roll?
You don't want to push.
And maybe he is the Evan Carter of the show up late but still be very productive for the last part of the season.
Well, right, and that would basically the timeline return with Malley and DeGrom and Scherzer is basically the same as like a trade deadline acquisition, like we did with Montgomery and Scherzer last year. So in my opinion, to put all of it on those three guys coming back strong, and that's your only real hope that your pitching staff has the ability to make a deep run in the playoffs, which I think at this point, unless a Cody Bradford really steps up, unless Andrew Heaney can get more consistent, then they need another pitcher, because I think in the best case scenario, perfect world, you can really only hope for two of those three guys on the DL to really come back this year and produce at a high level. Scherzer's 40 years old. You don't recover as well when you're that age. He's having back surgery, so you don't know what that timeline's actually going to look like or what his ability is going to be when he comes back. People come back from Tommy John all the time with mixed results as far as how long it takes them to be producing at the level that they were prior to the Tommy John. And like I said, especially with DeGrom, because he's signed for several more years, and when he's on the mound, he's the best pitcher in baseball. I don't want for there to be pressure to hurry up and come back that then hurts future. So
you want him definitely back.
So I do want them to sign Montgomery. I think that is what most Rangers fans want. It's just a matter of, do the dollars line up and add up correctly?
I think he'll be very similar to a running back that eventually sign and will be ready to go.
Well, I hope so, but they're 1, 2 really, wrinkles that come into that plan. Where Kyle Bradish for the Orioles, he has a UCL strain, which typically turns into Tommy John surgery. So the Orioles might have some more pressure to throw some more money towards somebody, and then we've talked about Verlander being iffy, and maybe the Astros have some pressure to want to go sign somebody. So the price might actually have not gone up, which might not be good for the Rangers.
Well, and the other thing about Major League Baseball, I want to say Rob Manfred has decided he is going to retire after 2029. So we'll have a new commissioner when 2029 rolls around in 2030. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit of My Town segment, big announcement for the Hodge Pack with a guest that we'll have next week, and we'll talk Super Bowl commercials right after this. It was the weirdest thing. I go to call Greg Austin, and he called Greg Blair.
Who's that? I don't know that name. Are you sick, Joshy?
No, just the wind started blowing last night.
Allergies?
Yeah. Just all of a sudden last night my nose started running.
Did you see the sign was out?
I didn't.
It's up on the.
Is it up here?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll have to look when I leave. I did not see that. Very, very nice. Did y'all talk about Caitlin? I don't know if it is, but that's good that that's on.
Morin, Derek Hood, shout out. I meant to try to catch you at the Avalon High Cooper game. Your dad was pretty awesome, and no doubt he's enjoying heaven. But meant to say catch you at the Avalon High Cooper game Tuesday, but missed you. Job good. Did they have a pretty good turnout at Wednesday night?
What was Wednesday? Sorry, it's been a long week, a long night with my mom and stuff. What was Wednesday?
Yeah, I went to Toasty Live.
Oh, yes, it was great. I was like, what was Wednesday? Yes, it was good. It was very, very good.
Good.
That team works their tails off. Like, it was crazy. I mean, I know they do, but to see them in action and it was awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was, and the food was delicious. Yeah, it was nice because it wasn't, they wanted to keep it like intimate, more in an intimate setting. So that, they only sold, I think, a certain amount of tables. And so it was very nice. It was quiet, just a different atmosphere, but it was, very, very nice. So I was a fan. We don't ever celebrate Valentine's Day. So it was weird because we did and we don't, but it was good. Do y'all? Yeah.
We went to dinner.
Yeah. But some people are like, maybe that's their anniversary or that's the day that their spouse proposed or whatever. So for some, it's a big deal. Do y'all celebrate Valentine's Day? Yeah, I didn't think so, but I didn't know.
No.
Do you think that that's a older generation thing?
I think it's all.
Or just.
Honestly, I think it's all how you.
Perceive it?
No, I think it's how you set the tone in your relationship.
Yeah, we said it that we weren't, it wasn't a deal for us when we started dating.
I don't think it is just like an old, because there's a lot of young people that make a big deal about it.
Probably more so than older people.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between. You hear that it's time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment, brought to you by Big Country Electric Cooperative. Just wanted to let you know our big announcement that we've got about our guest that's going to be joining us. We highlight a local player, coach, or program, and today I want to highlight and again, it's my fault for not knowing what year. I believe this is year, boom, yeah, this will be year 4 for the Mackey Crossing WAPT. We've been out there before golf tournament. We've had it in April, we've had it in June. It's going back to April/May, but April 30th through May 3rd will be the tournament. There'll be a pro-am on April 29th. We've got 2 breaking news to let y'all know. You need to mark your calendar for April 29th.
Okay.
Monday, April 29th is the pro-am. Misty is going to have her golf debut. We're going to get you ready. April 29th, you're going to play.
Whoop, whoop.
Hopefully Josh can as well. I'll be there. The Hodge Pack and Mulligans are going to split, and we're going to have a team in the pro-am. And so we're excited about that. But the tournament, again, April 30th through May 3rd is the tournament. This is, if you remember, we had B. Sheen on the show last year, and Kelly Wally. We've had a ton of them, Cecily Overby, those that have been, but a lot of these girls are coming back. It's one of those you hope they don't come back because they advance to the next level of the Epson Tour in professional golf. But this year it's a little different because Annika Swarnstam has added her name to it. Annika Swarnstam, legendary Hall of Fame golfer, shot 59, played in the Colonial a number of years ago, and competed well, barely missed the cut. But Annika's put her name on it, so it's really great for Abilene Country Club and the WAPT, which is now Annika Women's All Pro Tour, coming back to Abilene April 30th through the May 3rd is the tournament, the Pro-Am on the 29th. You can reach out to the Hodge Pack Sports or Hodge Pack Twitter if you want to be a part. There's sponsorships available for the tournament. It's just a great time. The girls come and they stay with host families, kind of like a D now, and they take care of them. And some are all over the world. We've obviously had some folks from Asia. We've had from Sweden, of course, all over the country, America-wise, have been here. And so it's just a great week getting to know these girls and hopefully, chasing that dream of making it to the next level, which is the Epson Tour, then ultimately, hopefully making it to the LPGA. And you mentioned earlier, if we talked about Caitlin Clark, and seeing these girls, they come and they do a golf clinic for the junior girls. And I just think having these, and we see Riley Gaines right now really pushing women's sports. But I really do think having these folks, I'm not saying Collins or Molly are going to start playing golf, but having these girls positive role models in the athletic world is huge. Yeah. And so just real quick, because of a girl mom, and Collins does play basketball, your thoughts real quick about Caitlin Clark.
Oh gosh, how can you, she's just a beast. Like, there's just no way around it. She is so fun to watch. Absolutely. I knew that she would set the record at some point, and of course she did last night. I believe she hit a 3 and from downtown and drained it and hit that record. But it's just really fun because we've talked about this before. Women's sports, people are like, womp womp, but seeing stories like Caitlin Clark, like, y'all know who she is because of what she's done, and so does everybody else. And so it's fun because I feel like women's basketball, college basketball, because of Caitlin and other names like hers, y'all are watching it more. It's getting bigger, and so it's been incredible to watch. I wish I had skill and talent like her. She's absolutely incredible.
Well, and again, I want to hang on this again. Big Country Electric, My Town segment again. Big Country Electric does a fantastic job for their members. But what Caitlin Clark is kind of doing for a new generation of girls basketball players is what Annika Swarnstam did for women golfers. She shot 59, won on repeat, has just, played in the Colonial, as I mentioned. And so she's done such a great job. And now that she feels that this tour is worthy enough to put her name on it, because let's face it, when you put your name on something, you're saying, hey, I'm going to identify with this. I'm going to endorse and support this tour. And these girls are, and I've mentioned it, it's kind of like artists on Nashville Row, Music Row, and playing in Tootsie's and the Bluebird and going hopefully to be heard. Well, in music, you've got to have somebody hear you and trust you. and then sign you to that deal. For golf, they've got to earn it. They've got to beat somebody and keep going to another level and do it week in and week out, because it's not like, and they're playing for money. It's not like they're playing for fun. They're playing to earn some money and move on. And so I just think it's really cool that Annika's put her name on it. And this is our announcement. Next Friday at 8:30, we will have Annika Swarnstam on the show to talk about the upcoming tournament. But again, a golfer Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame golfer will join us next Friday. Annika Swarnstam, just a really cool deal with WAPT hooking us up with Annika and her team. And so Annika Swarnstam next Friday at 8:30 will join us on our Pest Patrol phone line. And so anyway, that's our Big Country Electric My Town segment. So if you want some sponsorship information, reach out to me. A lot of options. Just reach out either through Twitter or on Facebook, or you can reach out to Abilene Country Club and just say, hey, we want to be a part of this. Again, sponsorships, the Pro-Am, the fun thing about the Pro-Am, it'll be a team of 4, and then you get to play with a pro as well. So it's a really cool deal.
Yeah,
So.
because I'm heavy on the am. So, I'm sorry whoever gets stuck with me.
It's a lot of fun because you get to see them. I mean, there's a lot of people that hit it far, and they do. They hit it far. Those girls hit it far. And there's people we know that hit it far. But it's when they get in trouble, and that's when their pro comes out. They can get up and down for par. They can take it under a tree and do all those things. And I'm just hoping that I don't hit the tree that goes back and hits me.
Yeah, I'm going to need to practice. It's going to be bad.
To your point, I played in a Pro-Am event several years ago. That was, and I don't remember which tour it was, but lower level, obviously.
Here in Abilene. And that tight lies was coming through.
Yes. And the guy that I was playing with, we were on a par 5 at the South Course, fairway, and he hits just like into the trees over on the left, just looks ridiculous, actually I was very close to where he was. We're kind of in the same spot. Well,
you expected it.
Yeah.
He then tries to go out underneath the trees, hitting it low. Well, he doesn't hit it quite low enough. It catches the branch and comes back down, so he's now taking his third shot, still 230, 240 yards away. 3-wood, gimme putt.
Finds a way to par.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just it was a
how?
birdie. It was a birdie. It was a par 5.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Wow.
And I'm still duffing it around over there. But but I was like, that's the difference there. That guy jacked up 2 shots in a row and then just laces it.
And I think
how many chances do I get to put it in the hole? That's what I need to know. Like,
guess
at what
it's
point do we just
double
pick the ball up?
max? Like what?
Well, I mean, it
Because I need to know these rules.
Well, a lot of that depends on your. Well, I mean, you'll get a hit every time.
Right, but I gotta work on my drives.
Well, there's 18 holes, so you're gonna get at least 18 putts.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be bad. I gotta work on my drives. I think I can putt decently, but it's the drives I think that are gonna kill me.
The other thing is, and I've mentioned this to really, because females get to move up to
Praise be.
And so you can hit it far, knock yourself out, because you're going to help us out. Now, Josh, when he gets a hold of one, and Josh can hit it pretty far. And so, yeah, we got a lot of options.
I'm scared. I'm going to be.
But you know where to go for warming up,
I know,
and
I'm
that is
gonna go to
Mulligan's.
Mullies. Yep.
And so when we come back, we will have Misty's bag right after this.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go hit some balls. Like, every once in a while, I
Feel
can
it?
hit some balls. Like,
So
Maybe
yeah,
like
if
1
y'all
in
are on
3.
board, April 29th,
Yeah, that'll be fun.
it's a Monday.
Okay.
I've talked to Kyle, they're on board, so we'll do Mulligan's and Hodge Pack. We'll split the team.
That'll be fun.
That does sound fun.
Just don't yell at me and make me cry when I don't do well. Y'all can be pro, I'll be am.
We go for that too, so don't worry.
But yeah, that's going to be fun.
It will be fun.
I'm going to have to get a cute little outfit. Oh my gosh, this is my debut.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, this is important. I'll be more worried about the fashion than hitting the balls.
That's fine.
Oh. Yeah, I need to look cute and have good beverages.
Moy says he lives in the trees. Hey, how was the waste management? Feel free to type what you can type on the waste management.
Oh man, I'm so glad today is Friday.
Well, you get Monday off too, right?
Yes, I've got to go to Austin we have a conference on Tuesday, so we're going to Austin on Monday at noon. So I'll only work 3 days next week, like actual in office. So that'll be nice.
So you leave Tuesday at noon.
Monday at noon.
So you're off Monday though.
Yes, I'm off Monday, and then Tuesday.
Who's all going?
Me, Tammy, Kristen, and Larry. He runs the mortgage in Angelo, so it'll be good. But us 3 girls are
You,
riding
Tammy,
together.
and who?
Kristen.
Oh.
We're riding together and staying together, and then Larry will meet us.
So what does a mortgage conference look like?
So funny, I've never been to one. This is my first conference ever in my entire.
It's your what?
It's my first conference ever in my entire banking career of almost 18 years.
Really?
Yeah. I have never gone to a conference before. So I don't really know what we're in for. How many minutes do we have?
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, yeah, I'll hold it.
You have 30 minutes.
I will hold it.
Knowing is half the battle. I had it in my mind and then it left.
I have to type it. I have to like write
Well,
myself
I
a note.
usually do and I didn't.
Uh-oh.
Moy said, I asked him how the waste manager was. He said, let's just say you won't see me on any TikToks.
I do have to leave a bit early there, 9:15.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports, life, and everything in between. We're rolling in our 8 o'clock hour. Again, don't forget the waste management. The waste management just happened. But the Annika Women's All Pro Tour tournament coming back to Abilene, Texas, the Mackey Crossing construction tournament. So be sure to check it out. Again, Annika Swarnstam will be on our Pest Patrol phone line next week. So be sure you check that out. And we'll be looking forward to having her next week on the show. But now it is definitely time for Misty's. Now, Ludo is actually part of the halftime show, so
I know the
Now
way
you
that I
can-
freaked
Crazy
out.
boots.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and hair.
Yeah, I freaked out when Luda showed up. I was like, yes, and I was at Mulligan, so that was pretty cool. But so yeah, it is time for my bag. This one I think is going to be hard to narrow down. So here we go. If you had to delete all your apps from your iPhone but 3, which 3 are you keeping?
I mean, so obviously Photos doesn't count as an app.
It is an app.
That's an app.
It's-
You're wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. That is an app.
You only get 3 icons
A
on your
text,
screen.
yeah, only 3 icons. He's already trying to change it. This is typical
Yeah,
behavior.
he's
Well, I just
He's
didn't know-
hijacking, obviously.
Of
But
course.
you don't have to download that app. Like it comes on your phone. It's like with Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers. It's already there. Camera's not considered an app because it's the phone function. I'm asking you.
Aye.
I'm asking you as clarity.
I'm gonna say 3 icons on your phone.
I wonder, can you delete your camera and still be in your settings? Because you got to have a camera, right?
That's why this is
Well,
hard.
then make a choice.
Yeah,
Well, you make it. You get to do it too.
3 icons. Maybe we'll
What
change
are
it
your
from
3?
apps to icons.
Well, I do think that the camera is good, so I'll go with that. And then Safari, because pretty much everything else you can access through it. Like most of your apps, you can just get on
Their.com.
the .com version of it, which you can even go to your iCloud through that to see your photos. So you don't need the Photos app on the phone. So, and then I need to text. But then I guess you can't make phone calls. So you got to choose what you'd rather do.
But see, and again,
Text or
I am
phone
not,
Mhm.
I am not trying to hijack this segment.
But you already are.
I'm not.
Typical behavior.
But again, if it's a function of the phone that comes with it,
So we're changing it to icon, not app. Or let's do both. Let's do both. Okay.
Okay.
What 3 apps?
so I mean, because that's an icon, that's the only way you can call out.
So which 3 icons, which 3 apps? There you go.
Twitter staying,
There's no such thing.
X
X
is staying.
stand.
Like my most
So
frequent,
Gen X, he can't say X.
yeah, don't want to be. ESPN, you can get to the .com. The games are fun, but I don't have to have those.
Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Actually, a big
he's
phase,
on level 7 million.
Yeah.
I'm a big phase 10 guy on the.
Really?
Yeah, phase 10 on the phone is
I've
a lot of
got that
fun.
on my phone.
I
need to
do
download
not.
it.
Y'all
Phase 10
little
is fun.
nerds.
I've never played it. My kids download
Oh,
stuff
okay.
on my phone.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
my kids did it too.
Josh
I've
so,
never
the high
played
score,
phase
phase
10.
10.
You should. It's a lot of fun. You get to be mad at people that skip
It
you.
just sounds so nerdy.
No,
Phase 10 on your iPhone?
easy. Would it be better if I had like Sudoku or something?
Well, that would be worse. So that,
Okay.
okay.
Sudoku.
Or what's the other one? Solitaire.
Solitaire is I'm bored sitting in a waiting room. I have nothing else to do.
That's so funny.
Solitaire was always the computer.
It came on
game.
the computer?
Yes.
Yes.
And I never understood Spider Solitaire, but that's neither here nor there because that's not your question. But yes. So Icon, I'm like Josh. I've got to make a phone call. I've got to text unless there's probably an app which I cannot have because it's not part of my 3.
You probably could text through Safari if you really wanted to.
Well, you can Messenger. You go through Safari to get to Facebook to find a way to Messenger and do the same thing.
I can't log on to my Facebook except for through the Facebook app. I don't know what happened.
Which again, that's one of those that you have to throw in. So I would say Twitter.
Okay. X.
Yes, that one. I guess Safari's got to be on there so you can navigate through a lot of other things.
But see, you can get to X through Safari too, so that's a waste of the space.
That's why this question is, I feel like it's
Well,
kinda
so
hard.
I guess Safari would guide me to all the other things I need. Photos apparently is one. So you've got to have the camera to iCloud them. So I don't guess I need the photo according to Josh, correct?
You could get away with not having it. Yes.
Okay. So you still want pictures. Text, Safari, photos, and I don't know if the phone call one, you got to be able to call.
Okay,
If
so
you-
those are your 3 icons.
If you went back to the year 2000, it'd be easy. It'd just be text, phone, and Snake.
Yes, yes,
Because I think
was
that's all that
awesome.
was on my phone.
it was.
Yeah, Snake was the only thing that just ever needed. But I look at these and honestly, apps, they have those commercials of I think it's like Rocket something to clean up or what like accounts you're paying on and you don't need and you
Right.
can delete one. So if I were to just go through, all right, so Josh, what's yours? I'm going to go through my phone.
So icons, you were going to do 3 icons and 3 apps, since that was the question. We'll just do three of both. So your icons, you've already said.
I'm keeping Safari, I'm keeping photos and icon Safari, photos, and I'll keep the phone.
Okay, and now Josh, icons for you.
Well, I mean, it's the same. I think Safari, because you can go to your email through Safari. You can get your iCloud through Safari, your X, your Facebook. I can't get Facebook for some reason, but some people can. All of that. So you got to have that, and then it's very hard because then I'm like, I want to be able to take pictures, but I need to be able to like text and make phone calls. So
It is very hard, I know.
Well, I'm going through right here and I'm looking, okay, that screen, nope.
See, y'all have both mentioned or not mentioned one that I would have to have, and that's music. I would
Well, see,
have
that's
to.
the other one that
I
I'm
would
like,
have to
I'm-
have music as my icon,
But see,
as one of my
But
icons.
see, I
'cause
can
I-
get music through Safari.
Well, I mean, you could do that, but to me,
Yeah, you could go to Spotify, I guess, through Safari also. 'Cause
yeah, I guess you could.
I listen to Spotify a ton.
I have Apple Music,
Like,
but I'm
I do
sure
the-
you can get
do
there.
podcasts through that. And
But I have
music.
to have, yeah, I have to have music. I've got to have a camera to take photos. And then I would say maybe text.
And I'm okay. I'm honestly, Misty, back to your original question. I think
So you can't make phone calls with your phone?
No, I'm totally fine with no phone calls.
It's good to know.
Because talk to text, I can send a recorded message through my text.
That would
So
be
then
super annoying.
it would.
Remind yourself to never do that to me.
Yeah, it would. I normally don't do that. But if I wanted to hear somebody's voice or whatever, they could get with me
Send
that
somebody
way.
a text. Would you please voice text me
Yeah,
back?
I need to hear your voice.
Hey, will you tell somebody to call somebody that lives next to me to come over to tell me I need to go do something?
Yes.
I'll tell you one that would take you back in time, because it's interesting how many. And honestly, Misty, I think your original question's fine. The three things.
Oh, thank you.
No. I know you added it.
You're allowed to ask the
Thank
question.
you.
No, that's not what I meant.
I
That's
know.
what you said.
Well, let me voice text it to you in a minute. Is that those are the things that we need, is the photos, the texting, and what was your third? Music.
Music.
But if you look at
And what
it,
about the alarm? Like, I'm going to be late
Well,
for work because I'll do my alarm
well,
on my phone.
there's still old-fashioned alarm clocks. One's right next to my bed. But you start thinking about the apps that you use, that if you took them away, that you would have to go back to. For example, you're going on a conference. You'd have to start doing this. Taxi. Because Uber app would not be able to be
Yeah.
used because you took it out. One of the things that I love is the American Airlines app. It lets you know.
Me too.
It lets you know, hey, flight dates changed, all this. So the American app.
You can get them
But
to
how
text you
often?
that too.
And how often do you really fly? So you have to think. See, that's why this question is hard.
You'd almost have to get to a point if you only could have, because there are times, and I
You
guess
need your banking app.
your
You can
phone,
get that on Safari.
Yeah, I guess you
your
could.
phone. There was times where you had to delete things because it didn't have
Fill
enough
up.
room. So you could. All right, I'm going to fly.
Still
So
have to do that.
I'm going to fly. So I'm going to delete this app and replace it. This week you get to be part of the 3. Next week when we land, I'm going to take the Fly app, the American app, out and put another app in. So yeah, that would be.
You got to rotate your starters.
Yeah, I will tell you this, and I know we're getting close to having to go to the 8 o'clock hour. And the thing I love about that question is if you start looking at, yes, the things that we have make things great and easier and all that. But in the same realm, if you could learn to not have to have those and kind of go back to a before app time, even though I think it would be great. I think it'd be great. And I say it for this reason.
Do you say that while you yell, "Get off my lawn"?
No, but do
Old
you,
man Rivers with your face 10 out.
Yeah.
are there not
While
times
playing phase 10 on the
Yeah,
front porch.
exactly. That's you.
reading my paper in my hand, that there are things that were simpler times that would be nice to not have to feel the stress that sometimes that comes with this.
No, you're right, but the convenience factor is my jam.
No
I
doubt.
mean, you
no
know,
doubt.
like, so I would, if we had to choose right now, go back to old days or keep it moving with technology, I'm keeping it moving. So you, old man Rivers, might be going back and playing on your yard, but for me, I'm like,
But
I like
see,
the convenience of my apps.
I will agree with Hodge on one thing, that the phone, I think, is the common denominator, and this is all these stupid pranks that people do. You know that then they video and somehow I don't like,
Ruin lives.
Yes,
yeah, like take
yeah.
a drink from the person at the cashier at the drive-through and just throw it on them like they did nothing to you.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
Like
No, that
like,
is, yeah.
and it's
ridiculous.
because your friend's sitting there in the passenger seat recording
Filming it,
it.
yeah.
Yes,
You know,
it is stupid.
So there's a lot of stupidity and a lot of people that have a hard time being in the now. And I'm not saying that I'm immune to this, because I'm definitely not immune to this, but like the second there's any sort of boredom, you're like, oh, I'm going to get on my phone.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like,
Well, that's how
like-
we're wired now.
and so I could do without that.
Yeah, there's a lot of technology. So figure out what's your apps. Tweet us at the Hodge Pack. When we come back, we'll kick off hour number 2 and talk Super Bowl, what we liked, what we didn't like. We'll go from there.
I'm sitting here looking at my apps and I'm like, what? Because I feel like I would need Netflix, but I know you can get through everything. But okay, let's say Safari wasn't there. Like,
Well, if Safari wasn't there, you'd have a very hard
that's
time.
what I'm saying. Like,
Because almost everything you
is
can go
Safari
through
an
Safari.
icon? Does it?
Oh, it's there.
Safari's an icon, yes.
Okay, so it's not an app. So really,
It's an app.
Well, I think that's
If Canada's
my
an app-
question
but
to you.
but I'm saying when you open your phone, you get a brand new phone. Is Safari already there?
Yes.
Okay, then it's an icon. It's not an app.
Well,
So
but then photos, camera.
and you would pick Safari as your icon.
Well, I mean, but how are you going to access it if it's not an icon? Maybe I'm confused by that.
I think if it comes on your phone like preloaded, that's what Hodge was saying. To him, that's an icon
Well, that wouldn't count as
Right.
as
as an app because it's already
well,
an
that
icon.
changes up the whole thing, because if you get all of those things, just that if the basic functions of like here's your new
Yes,
phone are there,
that
and you
was
can
really
only
the
add
premise of my
three-
question, but
you could add 3 apps to
yeah, that was really the question.
Right.
3 apps. Like, because Safari does come on your phone, or what 3?
So
So
mail-
that's why I said
The
that's
mail
why
comes on your phone.
Right.
that's why
Phone,
that's why I
text.
compared it to the Nintendo. When you bought a Nintendo back in the day, you got
Yes.
Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
So to me,
So your
those don't
icon, you're
count.
gonna
Any
keep-
games.
You're going to keep, obviously, Safari as an icon, your text and your photos or whatever. But true apps like Netflix, huh?
He likes to
Yes,
parrot.
I do, actually. Thank you for
You
reminding
have
me.
some time now. You need
Yes,
to go.
I need to go. Thanks, Dad.
Because we're not
Thanks,
going
Golden River.
to.
Yeah.
We're not.
Get off my lawn.
We're not.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not stopping again.
Damn it.
No, but I've got a lot of apps that like just. I've noticed a trend lately of apps being like discontinued. The company is just like, we're no longer servicing this app. You can access it through a website. You know, like,
Yeah.
have you seen that with any of your apps? I've seen it with several, and then I just make icons on my phone that go to that website. Do you do that? Make the home screen icons for the different sites that you go to?
Like, I mean, I just have.
Like I've got an app on my phone that's Lone Star Ball. It's just, you click it and it just, well, click it and it just goes to the internet site. Like it's not an actual app. It's a link icon on your screen.
What I think is funny is that Hodge says TT. Do you think that's funny?
No, Hodge,
He's the only person I know that says TT.
Hodge is funny.
TT sounds so like juvenile and like little kiddish.
Well, I'm trying not to be a old man river.
Well, I mean, P. What do you say? He's like urinate.
No, tell my kids to be.
But like,
Let's
go to the
TT is
can.
So
Take a
funny.
leak.
I don't know. That's funny. But he is.
I don't say TT.
Hodge is the only. It would be really funny coming out of you, because you're just like a burly guy. Be like, do you need no TT? It would just be so weird. So yeah, don't ever do that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I'm still on this app question.
Yeah, I know. My favorite Mistyism. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. That's funny. I don't ever realize that I do that. I think I'd have to have Netflix to watch my shows.
Yeah. Probably so.
Did y'all buy something from an endorser?
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack as we kick off hour number 2. You hear that tune? Very familiar song from Mark Powell. Be sure you get your Outlaws and Legends tickets for outlawsandlegends.com. March 29th and 30th. Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and others coming. So be sure you get your tickets for Outlaws and Legends. Next Friday will be the singer-songwriters. We've been helping judge that. Greg and JB have been helping judge that. They have 3 finalists now. They'll be trying to be one of the openers for Outlaws and Legends next Friday night at Hef's here in the mall where we are located. Mark Powell will be playing along with Jamie Richards. So be sure come out next Friday at Hef's for the finals of the singer-songwriter contest for Outlaws and Legends. All right, it's hour number 2 brought to you by Coleman County State Bank. And now it's time to really talk back into or look at Super Bowl 58. Want to real quick, we cannot mention, unfortunately, you have a great game and the tragedy that happened at this parade where unfortunately somebody lost their life. Over at least 20 folks were injured. Some were children. Just unbelievable on how the fact that somebody, went to the parade. And I thought about my parents and all the 700,000 that went to the Ranger parade for the World Series championship, that could have happened just down the road. And so shout out to one of the guys that tackled one of them. I don't know if y'all saw the video of that. But just unbelievable. But so just throwing that out, and I don't want to say what I said on air, but or say what I said to myself about that situation, but just unbelievable on how somebody can totally ruin the experience that folks were there for, and then ultimately take some people's lives and shoot kids, and just unbelievable. And so I hate that happened. And it could have been a lot worse. So those that stepped up and tackled and did all the things, just unfortunate that happened. So we hope we can kind of now steer toward the game and all the things there, but unfortunately, just stupidity on somebody's part to ruin some lives from that. So dumb, but let's transition to the football game. Again, Mahomes did what he did, and just overall, we're going to get our takeaways from it. But Misty, just you go first of the game and the Super Bowl as a whole. Your thoughts?
As a whole, I was just really glad that it was a good game. We talked about that the previous week. I did not want Purdy to lay an egg. He did not. He definitely had multiple chances to win that game. They went 3 and out several times in a row. And so I was going for the 49ers. I wanted my husband to win money over Josh, but Josh won. So kudos to Joshua for that.
Thanks.
But that's the only reason I was going for the 49ers. And I do like Brock. How can you not? But Purdy is definitely more relevant than people give him credit for. I think that they had every opportunity to beat the Chiefs, and they couldn't get it done. So Mahomes is still Mahomes. He can find a way to get it done. That was no shock. And it's like we talked about before, you don't want Mahomes to have the ball last. And I know we're going to talk about overtime and all the decisions there, but that's what we said the week before. He got it, and look what happened.
So let's go real quick off the field. Well, one was on the field in the halftime performance and commercials. Thoughts?
Oh, I love the halftime. I've seen it's like a 50-50 split. I thought it was great. It took me right back to like junior high days, when Little John and Luda come out. I was in it to win it. Like, we were at Mulligan's. There was such a great crowd there. And so everybody was going nuts and screaming and singing, and Alicia Keys. It was just, for me, like I said, it took me back to junior high, and I just loved it. I loved everything about it. Thought it was a great show. Poor girl that fell off the pole when Luda came out. I don't know if y'all saw that.
I did not.
She, bless her heart, she actually did a TikTok about it and pretty much lied and said that she was like a really great roller skater and auditioned, and she didn't find out until the day before that she was going to dance because she was an alternate, and somebody, I guess, got COVID. So here she stays up all night the night before to act like she can skate, because she was like, oh my gosh, now I lied. And she's like, because I wanted to be in the Super Bowl halftime show. Now I got to, put up. And she literally falls off the stage. You can go and find the video, and bless her heart, she has a huge black eye. She's like, I'm allowed to tell about it, but this is what happened. I'm not a great skater, and so that was kind of crazy. But I loved everything about it, other than the fact the Cowboys weren't in it.
Josh, just overall, and then we're going to break away and do a couple 3 takeaways.
Well, overall, I thought it was a good game, as far as like exciting to watch. The first half was sloppy and really kind of pathetic. And it kind of went how I predicted it would, and that would be that the Chiefs would hang around and the 49ers would need to put the game away to keep the ball away from Mahomes, and they did not do that. Mahomes got the ball back, they tie it up, and then we go to the overtime, which, obviously there's been a lot of discussion about that, but it made for an exciting football game.
Yeah, it was good. I liked the halftime show. One of the things, I didn't know a lot of Usher songs. I was sitting there watching it at Josh's house, and I was like, okay, I'm 0 for 3. I think I know that one. And then, of course, the last song.
When
Yeah,
came on, everybody went crazy.
And that was when the halftime show started. Someone said, "What's an Usher song?" And I was like, "The only one I know is Usher is Yeah." That was it. Now others, I guess I'd heard before once they played, but it just was like,
I was kind of that way. I was that way a few years ago
Usher.
when Bruno Mars was playing in it. I think he had the Super Bowl halftime, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know he sang that. I know that song. I didn't know it was singing." And so there was a few of that for Usher as well. But I thought it was good. As far as commercial wise, none of them just blew my mind. I did kind of like the Reese's one was kind of cool and I want to find the Reese's with the caramel cup on it. I like the M&M one where the guys that were almost Super Bowl champions, like they almost got the ring. But I did, and Brent Hill, we were at your house. He's like, "Man, I'm going to record it so I can hear the commercials," because you were not going to hear the commercials at Josh's house. So I would go back and forth in from garage to living room to hear some of them. But they were good.
I like the Dunkin' Donuts.
That was
Dunkin'
good.
Donuts
That was my favorite.
I did think there was, just as far as commercial goes, it does blow your mind when you see some of them and you hear how much they paid for them.
Yeah.
Was crazy. I will say, the guys that stepped out, that he gets us, they had a couple of that talking about Jesus, and
those were good.
Those were good commercials as well. So overall, it was, and I mentioned it was a good game. It was a close game. It's what I wanted. Didn't have a dog in the fight. I wasn't in the survivor pick anymore. I did a little bit of a DraftKings thing, but other than that, I didn't have a real dog in the fight. I would have been okay either way. Some at Josh's were like, well, if they win, they pass the Cowboys in total Super Bowls. And, the Cowboys has as much right and a chance to go past them and go do their own thing. So, but as far as my 3 takeaways that I took, and I wrote down 5. First of all, you cannot, against good teams, you absolutely cannot settle for field goals. And I think, the Chiefs, they're better than you. I mean, they've got, when you've got the best quarterback, we talked about studs last week, when you've got the best player on the field, you have a room for mess up. But the 49ers didn't. And they had a couple of big drives, and really McCaffrey fumbles, but for the first half, they were moving the football. And the worst thing that happened for them, I guess, was Steve Spagnuolo to go in and making a few adjustments and putting Chris Jones in places that disrupted Brock Purdy and made a big difference. And so if they could have scored, they had 2 big penalties. One was on a drive, well, 3 if you count the other holding. Trent Williams had back-to-back. He had a false start, and then he has a big holding penalty that brings Greg Kittle pass. He advanced and converted the first down, had enough for the first down, but then the holding penalty brings him back. And so I went back and watched it the other night. And you watch these games and you see how close that if this thing changes, if they score touchdowns instead of field goals, or they don't get backed up with penalties, what does that look like when you add touchdowns on the board and you get 6 and 7 points instead of 3? And so to me, that was one of the big things that, yes, I think Brock Purdy, and that's one of my takeaways, is that Brock Purdy is going to be here a while.
Yeah.
I think Brock Purdy proved He moved with his legs. He threw the ball well. The reason some of his passes didn't go well was because of Chris Jones. The pressure that he put on him, he hit his arm a couple of times, and the pressure that Steve Spagnuolo did. And I thought he was a game changer because the change at halftime was so huge on the way they played in the second half.
Well, yeah, in the first quarter, the 49ers, they had 125 yards to KC 16. I mean, like Josh mentioned, it was so sloppy. I was like, oh my gosh, like the 49ers need to capitalize on this because they're going to get their life together second half, which is what happened. And I was just like, oh, I really was wanting them to hold on. And again, I like the Chiefs too, but I was just really going for Brock and the 49ers. And then, you've got the blocked kick. I mean, there was just so many things that just did not fall their way.
And the block extra point comes back, it does make a difference. Now,
I mean, that's huge on the momentum too.
Well, it is. And then, of course, you think, well, we all think that even if it was if it was still just a 4-point game, Mahomes would have found a way to make it a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And then when he didn't do it and they settled for the field goal and they tied it, you're like, okay, it's still fine. But yes, I think the extra point was huge, but it was great because Moody came right back and made a big bomb to keep him back in it.
Right. Well, and that's the whole point of, missing that extra point and the just needing 3 instead of having to go for a touchdown. It changes the way that whole drive goes. It changes the pressure level a bit. So I think there's a lot more in that momentum on that than just the fact that they only need a field goal to tie it, because only needing the field goal means you're open to running different plays because you don't necessarily have to score a touchdown, so you can take some different approaches. And that obviously came back and cost them.
Well, and so we got a minute. So we're going to go to commercial. When we come back, I want to get your 3 takeaways of what you got of that, and then the entirety of the season. Then we'll have knowings at the battle, and we'll keep rolling. But Super Bowl champions again, and we'll talk just how great is Patrick Mahomes. Because see, my takeaways, I typed them out. And I've already mentioned that Brock Purdy's going to be fine. The timing of the penalties were huge. Steve Spagnuolo. And then I think Mahomes and the gap between Mahomes and quarterback number 2 is the Grand Canyon size.
Yeah, well, we talked about that a few weeks ago. Yeah, you're right.
And then Shanahan, monkey, just got big.
Yeah. I was just so glad Purdy had a decent game, and they kept it close. It was just sad though, because I think they went 3 and out like 3 times in a row, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like they had so many opportunities and just could not capitalize.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, it reminded me of 2 years ago when Wiley and Argyle played, and they went in with the lead.
Yep.
And then in the third quarter couldn't get anything going offensively. And I think if we'd have done anything, even if we'd have had a long drive and got no points,
right,
I think that game changes.
Well, it's the momentum too. You go 3 and out 3 times in a row, you're just like, crap.
And then we got all those false start penalties, and we never capitalized on it.
Right.
And I look at us, we were kind of like the 49ers. We had some studs, we had some great players, but Argyle was the overall.
Yeah.
Beat us, previous times beating Wiley, all those things that were.
Yeah.
But in all that, we didn't have to play perfect, but we had just done those things we could have possibly beat them. I think that's what the 49ers had to do. And just going back to that, not doing it and having a little bit of doubt in yourself. And then how they handled overtime. I don't know why you'd ever guarantee Mahomes 4 downs.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing.
Well, I think it goes back to experience. And Shanahan talked about that post game whenever they asked him. He literally says, for quote, I have it to, I mean, I can read it on air, but he says, he was like, we didn't have experience with it. Like we talked about it, like that was just going to be our decision. Like there was no, they looked at the analytics of it, of what they thought on their side, thought this is what we're going to do because we want to get the ball third. Where then Andy Reid's like, no way, like I would have never done what they did. And so it was just interesting.
Well, and the other thing that Andy said and Mahomes said, if they would have gone, if they would have gotten second, if the 49ers would have scored a touchdown, they were going for 2.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so I don't know. There's a lot of back and forth on that, but he literally said, yeah, like we don't have much experience in this. And even several 49ers came out and they were like, we didn't even know what the hell was going on.
Yeah,
like
we
didn't even know the rules and we didn't even have a clue. Yeah, they didn't know that they were going to get the ball. Like, yeah, that changed.
Yeah.
Like, so just crazy. But yeah, I have like the direct quote from him.
I would like to see all the analytics as far as like what actually goes into that decision.
Because see, on the Chiefs side, they said they believe the certainty of the second possession, knowing how many points would be required, outweighed the advantage of a theoretical third. And based on their coordinator, Mike Frazier, that's what they had already previously discussed. But yeah, Shanahan, none of us have a ton of experience of it.
3 takeaways.
From the Super Bowls.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack. More hot takes here with Hodge Pack. Hodge, Misty, and Josh. Talking Super Bowl 58, the Kansas City Chiefs winning 25-22. Great game if you didn't care just watching. Had overtime. So real quick, what were your 3 takeaways from Super Bowl 58? Josh, we'll let you go first this time.
Well, I guess my 3 takeaways are that like winning a Super Bowl is very difficult. You know, like that's not earth-shattering news. You know, but the 49ers had a lot of chances that they did not capitalize on, which leads me to my second one, which you mentioned. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL, and there's not really much of a doubt in my mind that that's the case. You know, because he has the ability to just take a game and run with it. And my third takeaway has nothing to do with football as much as it does like the we talk about all the hubbub of the commercials and all the stuff that goes in that, and how much money it costs and all of those things, and then the halftime show, that the push for the Super Bowl, you know, becoming more of a off the field thing just seems to get more and more and more every year. And I noticed a lot of the commercials this year were social or political commentary, you know, not just like buy some Bud Light and some Doritos, which used to be what there were funny commercials for, you know, for beers and snack foods. And so that's kind of it. And the slash, I don't know what it is with the halftime shows. It seems like we've gone on a steady run of like, no offense meant like directly, but has-beens. Like,
I think they go back to, I mean, has-been / I think they've gone more iconic people from the past.
You say iconic, I say has-been.
Hodge trying to keep it PC.
Well, no, I mean, but as we said,
I would feel no different if it was
Usher,
Garth Brooks or whatever.
Garth would be an incredible
Usher,
halftime
I'm
show.
sure, has a lot of fans. I don't put Usher in the pantheon of R&B singers. You know, like, you know, they had the Rolling Stones, you know, several years ago. I get that the Rolling Stones are like iconic all time, and maybe it's not my type of music, but I think it's, I don't
Who
know.
would you like to see in the Super Bowl? halftime show?
I really don't know because it was entertaining. It was very entertaining.
It was very Vegas-esque.
It was
Because
like
they had
someone,
those Cirque du Soleil people. I
Yeah.
mean, it was very
it
Vegas-esque.
was kind of like someone had a weird dream and decided to turn
I
it
mean,
into
it was a
halftime
production
show.
for sure, which I loved.
Yeah, somebody
it.
said,
I'm not the one to make that choice because I'm just
well, I think somebody was
not,
at
but,
your house was like, man, are they going to do it? I said, I don't think you understand how much they're having to set up for this production.
Oh yeah,
It's
a
not
huge
like you threw out
undertaking.
a guitar stand and a mic and started singing.
J-Lo has a documentary when her and Shakira, which I loved their halftime show too. She has a documentary on Netflix, and she takes you through the Super Bowl and just how grueling that process is to fit all of that in like 13 minutes. I think Usher, I think I saw somewhere that he had the most time of any halftime performance thus far. But I remember J-Lo saying that they only had so many
J-Lo
minutes.
and Shakira were like top of their game people at the time that
Yeah.
they did that. Justin Timberlake did it, and obviously there was some malfunctions in the wardrobe. But
That one was iconic.
But like he was
Everybody's eyes was on him.
top of the he
I mean,
was
literally.
the
Right.
chart topper
I
at
see
the
what you're
moment.
saying. Like,
And we've just gotten into retreads and not like I said, they could be on someone's Mount Rushmore. They just haven't been mine.
no, and that makes sense. And it could come down to money. I mean, we see that with local events. Yeah, do we want the cream of the crop who's very popular right now for Cattle Barons Ball? Absolutely. But you know what? That's going to come with a lot more zeros.
But my understanding is they pay to be in this.
Well, and see, that's the thing. I don't know. We don't know all of the ins
I've
and
heard
outs.
that, but yeah, I've never seen
Right.
the
So what
contract.
were your 3 takeaways?
My 3, I've already said, I mean, Purdy is more relevant than I think people give him credit. Chiefs still got it, and experience matters on the coaching side.
I agree.
Would be my 3 takeaways from the Super Bowl this year.
My 3 takeaways from the Super Bowl were, 1, the NFL, I think, is the spot where coaching matters more than any of the other professional sports. I mean, I guess you could take golf and hopefully that guy teaches somebody how to hit a golf ball. But in the heat and coaching and preparation, I think football is the one where the coach does make a difference. I'm not saying, and I love basketball, watched one of the greatest last night in the state, Coach Barnett in the Loboettes. And, the way he coached and had his kids ready to prepare was great. But I think in the NFL level and even in the college level, I think we see coaching matters and makes a huge difference, especially when it comes to the professional sports. And Andy Reid out-coached Kyle Shanahan.
100%.
Steve Spagnuolo out-coached Kyle Shanahan.
100%.
Because Kyle Shanahan is the offense coordinator. Kyle Shanahan's calling the plays. And Steve Spagnuolo found a way to be the first time ever 4-time coordinator Super Bowl champion. And so coaching matters in the NFL, I think, more than any other. Number 2, I think, and the monkey on the back of Kyle Shanahan is now King Kong. Because that's my other takeaway, is that not only does coaching matter, but on his back, that monkey might have been Curious George, but now it's King Kong. Because now you've got a Detroit Lions team that's getting better. Hopefully the Cowboys get better. But now, not only that, you've got another year. We talked about a 162-game season for the Rangers to get back. You've got a whole nother offseason and another growth of doubt. Is now that spot of doubt has grown even more because can I get it done? Was this my best team? I had Deebo Samuel. I had Greg Kittle, or George Kittle. I had Ayuk played a really good game. Now Ayuk doesn't know if he was stay. So I think the monkey on the back of Kyle Shanahan is gotten enormously huge. And the other thing is, I know some people, my other takeaway was I thought what Travis Kelce did to Andy Reid, some say it's the heat of the moment. I heard one radio show this week that said they're glad that somebody cared that much about the game and wanted to win. I thought the display, and unfortunately for him, there's a camera everywhere, but I thought what Travis Kelce did to Andy Reid was unacceptable.
I thought it was completely unacceptable too, and I thought when it happened, that was something that there are certain levels of players. If that happens, that guy doesn't get back on the field the rest of the day.
Right.
And I saw somebody post if he'd done that to Tom Landry, he would have been gone.
The notion that somebody, and this is the problem, I think that's more indicative. Like you said, maybe it's a time and space thing, but yes, you didn't used to see things like that players didn't have disciplinary action for. But now we're in this situation where you have a player who, is good, is a game changer, and is such to the point that maybe he knows that and he can do things that he shouldn't and get away with it.
But if I do that to my boss on Monday,
you're like,
you're done. You're done.
You're lucky to even keep your job, much less not have some sort of repercussion.
Well, and somebody mentioned maybe the relationship we had. I mean, there's things that I could say to you or Zane and know that it's maybe a heat of the moment type disagreement or whatever, and we know it's just that and it's done. But even at that, and it does not help, and everybody's like, man, I hope Taylor's watching this, because a couple years ago, throwing the helmet, all those things. And they were like, well, Tom Brady got mad too. And maybe he's done it, but it just was not a good look. And I thought it was unacceptable. And some people are going to say, well, the second half is totally different. Kelsey goes from one catch to huge catches, big difference, game changer, and they end up winning the football game. But that was my big takeaway. We got 4 minutes. Just real quick, what are some of your season's over? The NFL season is over. What were your takeaways from the entire year? Give me 2 to 3 of the entire year of just the NFL.
So for me, Texans are definitely on the come up. So I think that this next year, they're going to be a team to really watch. Cowboys are still the Cowboys, and the Lions. I think look for the Lions possibly in the Super Bowl next year.
Josh?
Well, takeaway is that I'm not going to be a Cowboys fan next year.
Okay.
Just going to try to give up.
Maybe the opposite will help our cause.
No, it's not some sort of reverse jinx.
Is this a medical thing?
Who's your team that you're going to cheer for? The Bills?
Is this a blood pressure thing?
Well, maybe. I mean,
yeah, you've got to have a number one team. Who will it be?
I don't have to.
Well, but you've got to root for someone.
No, I don't really think that I can.
He's gonna
for
you just going to boycott the NFL?
He's going to start playing base 10 on Sundays.
Yeah.
On Sundays, that's exactly what I do. While I yell at children for playing on my yard.
There you go. All right, not a Cowboys fan. Give me a couple more.
I really think that there's a solid chance that the 49ers struggle next year.
Same.
I think that the finger pointing at the end of that is not a good look. The defense kind of being singled out by firing their coach. I think that that's something to look at. And the other is, like I said, Mahomes is the best quarterback in football, the best player in football. And this goes more to not a takeaway, but does that ever fall off? And that's what I sent you all that text this week. Troy Aikman won his 3rd Super Bowl in his 7th season in the NFL. Mahomes just won his 3rd Super Bowl in his 7th season in the NFL. Aikman never won another Super Bowl and only had a career that lasted 4 more years after that last Super Bowl, 4 or 5, whatever. Don't quote me on that, but not a long time after that. So, that Aikman was a different player, obviously, and he was not the game changer, but with Emmitt Smith on your team, that's when you just handed the ball off, so you didn't really have to be. But does Mahomes kind of keep that rolling? Or, because everyone assumes that he is, but you could have made a solid bet that Aikman was going to win 4 or 5 Super Bowls.
I think one of the things that helped.
He did not.
I think one of the things that helps Mahomes over Aikman are rules.
Well, yes, it's a different.
Different game now.
Aikman got beat into retirement, and and that's
Literally
not going to happen to Mahomes. So there's the rules will help him, but just the point notwithstanding, Joe Montana won his 4th Super Bowl. He's the second, I guess, to Brady at the age of 33. Aikman was retired by that age. So there's just thinking about where this is going to fall into the all-time stack and all of that. I just think it's easy to think, oh, Mahomes is just going to, he's going to rival Brady. He's going to go on forever. It might not happen.
Right. And I agree. I think that is something.
Because the Chiefs have to retool.
Absolutely.
And Kelsey with all the, he's on the very tail end of his career.
Well, and I think that's the thing that's different, and we'll go to commercial, and then I'm going to come back and give you my takes, is that you've got to remember the NFL is different. You've got a salary cap, and you can't sign everybody. You want to keep everybody, but you can't. When we come back, I'm going to give my couple of takes, and then we'll have knowing it's half the battle right after this.
I got something on my shirt right here. I don't know
Oh, what is
I
that?
don't know.
Huh?
Maybe you got a tag pin. I picked it up.
Yeah, maybe something.
I don't know. I like got. At first I thought it was water, but then it's like it's not water.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
it wouldn't be deodorant that high up,
No,
like
it's
underneath.
Weird. That's a weird way.
What are you trying to figure out?
What's,
I got something on my shirt right here. Like,
we're all in very like springy colors.
my wife doesn't like when I wear bright colors, but I like it.
I love.
My wife prefers that. My wife
I
is
love
not.
bright colors.
My wife is not a fan. She's all like, man, it's very drab.
Well, I guess I have a very narrow window of opportunity because I'm either told my clothes are too bright or I look like an old man. So I don't know where the right.
that tracks.
Like,
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty accurate.
That's pretty much what you are.
Yeah, I love the bright colors. So we're doing a color party at work today. So everybody drew colors and we have to bring food that color and we have to dress that color. So obviously I'm purple. So I have to go get purple food or purple packaged food after this for our potluck. I think I'm going to get purple Skittles. I don't know if I want to get grapes, purple Doritos,
purple Doritos. Which ones are those?
the sweet and spicy. I love those. So I think I might do those and just make some ranch dip, even though that's not going to be purple. I could put food coloring in it. But yeah, everybody's a different color.
I'm gonna do knowing's half the battle, then I gotta go.
Okay.
I gotta go to the doctor so they can tell me I'm fat and I'm gonna die.
That's what your 915 is?
Oh,
Who's your doctor?
Dr. Azell.
Hey, when you're there, that's mine too. Hey, ask him if he thinks Ryan should come back in and probably get his blood pressure. He's gonna say 100%.
Gotta go once a year so they tell me how unhealthy I am.
Then go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah. Well, see you later.
Did they? Okay, this is a personal question, but you know, when girls go for a yearly, you know, like things happen
Yeah.
and things get really checked. Did they like do that to y'all? Did they like grab your junk?
At some point.
Hello, Facebook.
Sorry,
They start
it's a
the old-
question. Like I'm
No,
curious.
no.
Do you hear this?
Because they
sound?
grab ours. Yeah, the glove comes on.
Apparently, there's some time that you have to do that, but hopefully not.
I just didn't know like if that's a yearly exam for y'all.
No,
Okay.
not since.
Because for us,
Not since sports
it's
physicals.
shred them every year. It's terrible. There's not a woman alive that just is so excited to go to her yearly.
I'm not
freaking
excited
terrible.
because I just get told I'm fat. I know that I'm fat. No one needs to tell me.
Knowing is half the battle,
Yeah.
Joshua.
I can't really deny it, so I'll try better. No, I won't.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack. We're rocking and rolling our 8 o'clock hour. Want to give you my takes of the NFL season. Number one, I do feel like I think the Detroit Lions may go back. And what I learned is the Green Bay Packers have found they've gone from Favre to Rodgers, and they may have found another great quarterback in Jordan Love to put pressure on the Lions. And can they stay there? Number two, I think Mahomes reminds me more of Jordan than he does Brady. And I don't know if it's because Brady won 7 Super Bowls, and I don't know longevity-wise, does he want to do that? Does he chase? Does he stay healthy? But what Jordan did in that span of time of winning 3, playing baseball for 2, and then winning 3 more, that's where I see Mahomes. And I think the other thing is coming into next year, they're going to add some teams and add some players, I'm sure, is that I don't see why outside of injury they don't keep going. Because, number one, they've won back-to-back, so they've done that. They've proven that you can win again. And can they keep that going? And with Andy Reid coming back, if Andy Reid had decided to retire, then I would doubt a little bit because do they give it to Matt Nagy? Do they give it to Eric Bieniemy? The fact that Andy Reid's coming back, I think they'll win it. And the other thing, and the Cowboys are the Cowboys, I agree with you, Misty, but my other deal is did we see the last of one of the greatest of all time? And will the NFL ever have Bill Belichick again? Something to look at over the season. And my other was that the backup quarterback may be the most important position when after you fill your starting roster, you better have a really good backup quarterback, because we saw how important that was.
3, now is that like 11? I lost count.
It was 3. It was honorable mention 4 was the backup quarterback. So now, who knows? That may be what's
This
about
is
to come
his
up.
world. We're just living in it, Josh.
Well, at
I'm
least,
trying to go back through and figure out how he said that was only 4.
well, they were all
We're gonna
together.
have to go under
He
the
clusters
the
them.
hood with
One
the red
was an
flag.
app, one was an app, one was an
See?
icon, and now it's time for
I guess if you
knowing
put
the type
7
of
into
battle.
1 and call it 1,
Yes.
that's how you get away with that.
Well, and that's why you
Clever, Hodgie, clever.
Yeah. I can't hear to know when it's my time to talk.
it is now.
I've got earphones. I don't put them on. They make my ears sweat, and I don't like that.
You're already sweating other places.
I
so
didn't
keep going.
realize that ears sweat.
It's hot in here. It's not my fault. I'm overweight. You can go ahead and put that in my notes. But anyway, knowing is half the battle, and what you need to know today is something that I deal with this a lot because my wife is really good at doing this, and I prefer that she's stopped.
I'm
and-
intrigued.
And that is pointing out random tics or cliches that people say that I did not notice prior to her pointing it out. But since it was pointed out to me, I now can do nothing but notice this. Have you ever been in this situation? Like one example is that you are at, and it's especially bad if it's like somebody that, and this is not the case. Not talking about like the current pastor of my church, but there's like public speakers that have some sort of tick where they'll like maybe make a sound or, like as they're talking, and you might not notice it. But then someone points it out to you, and suddenly it's driving you insane.
Like all you can hear
Yes,
after that.
like,
Yes.
It's just driving you nuts. And so people point that out, or like little turns of phrase that people say. Like I did point out, and I didn't even listen to my own advice, that Misty has a turn of phrase that's funny. And now I'm going to point it out to all of y'all. So I'm going to break my own rule. But
I
make
didn't
the
realize
rules.
I do this.
But I make my
What
rules.
does Misty do?
I make my rules so I can break them. Misty says before she starts speaking, no, yeah. Makes no sense. No, yeah, the Cowboys do whatever. No, yeah. And
Did
sometimes
I do it today?
Oh, yes. And sometimes she flips it and she knows. So yeah, no. And I'm like, I'm confused by that. And you do it a lot.
Keeping you on your
And now
toes.
for everybody who's listening, pay attention for the no, yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's and now as soon as she's not being self-conscious about it, she's gonna do it again. So just be prepared.
So I agree. And one of the phrases that wears me out, and I've told people if I do this to say it to me, is when I tell you, like if I were to say, Josh, so I went over and I grabbed some lunch. You know what I mean? No, what do you mean?
What does it mean to get
When
lunch?
somebody says,
you know what I mean?
well, we'll build that line down the road. We'll come over here, and then we'll be right over here. You know what I mean? No. Tell me what do you mean? So you know what I mean? Does like, and I'm bad about when speaking because I know I probably do that as well because mine is I've got the deal is, or some of those things is if you are doing that and you're speaking, I apologize because I'm going to start counting. How many times you say,
oh yeah, when you notice
yeah.
that turn of phrase that just happens to be something that they say as they're pausing.
But I guess the
You
question
know,
is on knowing half the battle part of it, is it something that you should just roll with from the listener and the speaker and understand that's just them, or should you try to not be the broken record?
Well, you should try to fix it if you have a tick or a turn of phrase that just
Is on repeat?
Is on repeat. You should try to fix
He's
it.
talking directly to me.
Yeah, well, yes, but
Okay,
the
I'm
thing
gonna
is,
work on this.
I don't think you can fix it. And in fact, if it's pointed out to you that you need to fix it, all you want to do is do that. You know,
I'm
like
gonna fix it.
I just said, you know, but the thing that go back to like a public speaking class, if you took that in high school or college, and you're told not to say
Yes.
you know, like don't say and as you're speaking, it's just in your mind, don't say and then you get to a point where you don't know what you're about to say, or you need to and then you go and so it's just, and then you say it, and then that starts to be like, oh no, I said it, I can't, like, so your mind's just like, I can't do that, and then you're stammering around because you're trying not to do what you said you didn't want to do, but then you did it anyway.
And sayings are different. If you have a saying like level up is one of your sayings, that's not a tick. But like my aunt just said, I'm now going to notice everybody's tick. You will. You're going to catch it because deep down you've already. If I were to tell you those things, you've got people in your mind that popped in. I've got like a couple that I know they always say blank or say whatever or do whatever.
Or somebody that says like, you know, the other day I was like going and I was
say
like
too many
this.
likes and I try not to do it, but
like is a big one. I feel like a lot of people say that.
And one specifically that my wife pointed out to me, and I will throw David Hogan under the bus. He's probably not listening. He's teaching children and being, you know, respectable at life. He teaches our Sunday school class, and he holds his pen in his hand, and as he's talking, he twists the cap, and it makes a much worse squeak
like
than that
squeak,
did,
yeah.
but it squeaks. And Leanne pointed this out to me. The pin clicking is also something that I do that sometimes. I click my pen, tap it on the desk or whatever. But since she pointed out that pin squeaking, every time he does it now, I want to like fall out of the chair. And I never noticed it for a long time until it was pointed out. So I guess honestly, it's funny. And I did point out that now you can listen for Misty to say yeah, no.
I said no, a while ago no, and then I was like, stop talking.
Or no, yeah. But really, I think you should just keep it to yourself. You keep it to yourself because you're just going to impart that frustration onto someone else when they were fine without ever noticing that guy would, when he talks or
whatnot is another one. If whatnot is your thing, you know, I went over here and we did all this stuff and whatnot. And whatnot is one that gets embedded into people, and they say that a lot too. So it is. So I guess. So what is the knowing at the battle? Try to
keep it to yourself, unless you really, really want to annoy someone else, which you can.
But I think.
But honestly, keep it to yourself because you're just going to ruin someone else's experience where they could have listened, especially to the preacher that's given a sermon or the presentation at you're going to a work conference. Somebody will have that, and instead of listening to what you need to hear in that moment, all you hear is this random. He said it again. He made that sound.
And now I'm going to get canceled because all of our listeners are going to hear my no and my no yeah.
And now and like I said, if you point it out to the person, I think that is probably the worst. But I
really do think you will notice on Tuesday whenever you have that first speaker, because again, I do agree. Preachers and speakers really dissect because they preach and speak. And so they're like, they notice more.
What is yours? I mean, you do that. So what is
I would say mine is, I'll say the truth is, I'll have to go back and listen some. And honestly, I encourage
I'll tell you what.
I think he just did two back to back.
One that you do as far as a turn of phrase that you do quite often, and don't take too much offense, but you end a lot of sentences and all the things.
Tracy says that.
Yes.
Like, we went and watched some football, had, bought some Doritos and all the things.
Yes,
that's
all the things.
That is
your
true.
Catchphrase.
That is true. That is true.
So now I'm pointing out, so now all the listeners get to know all of this, and now you can be just annoyed by it because I pointed it out.
Oh, I can assure you today.
I break my own rules.
Today,
I'm a hypocrite.
Well, today at lunch, I'm going to record Josh and see what he does. And so
yes, please.
His is, I know one thing.
Huh? I've got a lot.
Josh it's a good thing that he has one of those rubber wedding rings because that becomes a stress ball.
I've noticed that. Sometimes he takes it
off.
Josh,
it becomes a stress ball like crazy. But anyway, hey, so knowing is half the battle. Congratulations for all of you that are now saying your ticks in the car as you drive to work. Don't forget to swing through Mi Ranchito and get you a burrito or a taco as you're on your way. But again, knowing it's half the battle, working on those ticks. Yeah, no, we'll be back right after this and all the things.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, no, all the things that needs to be in the podcast.
All right, I'll see y'all later. Have a good
Bye.
day.
I'll see it.
Oh, that's funny.
Hey, you want that other burrito?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, I don't, because I'm about to go get weighed.
Do you need some water to go make sure you
I
get in
didn't
the
drink
cup?
too much water. I already extra.
You're gonna be heavy. Bye. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Your laptop, TV, mobile phone, or devices. You might say your Touchstone Energy cooperative is in the business of keeping you connected to everyone and everything that's essential. Day or night, we're always here, making life easier. Because when all is said and done, of all the connections we make, none are more powerful than a human connection.
You are the most important part of Big Country Electric Cooperative. Call, stop by our offices in Noble, Snyder, and Stanford, or visit online at bigcountry.coop.
Good Light is the light beer brew for people who love the taste of beer. For those who are always the first to volunteer for beer runs. Who get upsell gigs for sports that they don't even like. And believe having a beer fridge in the garage is non-negotiable. It's a 96-calorie, 3.2 carb love letter to beer lovers who know that the best part of beer is the beer part. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, New York. Pest Patrol, Pest Patrol, Pest Patrol. Get a big bright yellow truck coming to your door. Pest Patrol. Hi, I'm Will and Curtis. We've been protecting homes and businesses for 30 years right here in the Big Country. If you need service or just have questions, call or text at 325-673-6700. A big bright yellow truck coming to your door. Pest Patrol. Have you enjoyed the Potosi Live experience yet? If not, you're missing one of the best atmospheres around. With amazing food, great drinks, live music, TVs to watch your favorite sporting events. The Potosi Live team will make sure you have an experience that you're going to tell your friends about. Check out PotosiLive.com.
Look at the cute little Valentine setup.
For their upcoming live music.
That's so cute.
What do y'all have this weekend?
Basketball tomorrow for Polly. Tonight, I think we're going to the Wiley.
Basketball
Cooper
what?
Basketball game for Polly.
Oh, I thought you said with Molly. I was like, y'all on the same thing?
No. Basketball game. I think we're going to go to the basketball game at Wiley and Cooper tonight.
I would.
It's
It's
gonna
going to be a great
it's gonna be-
atmosphere.
Yeah, going to be a good game.
We're
So
going to talk about that.
we're going to do that. And then I'm going to go see my mom tomorrow. I've got to work a realtor open house with the realtor. Then I'm going to go see my mom around 2. So tomorrow will kind of be a busy day, but
I saw that y'all had that. Oh, so they are playing Glen Rose.
huh? What about y'all? What do y'all have?
I'm going to Ariane tonight to
Oh, you
officiate,
officiate? Yeah. Cool.
which I hate to miss the Cooper game, or the Cooper Wiley game.
Mhm.
And then we got Wiley's got a project graduation event tomorrow night. I gotta go. I'm going to.
So you'll have a busy weekend too. You preaching Sunday? Yeah. Do you do your sermon like every week, or do you have like 5 ready to go and you just pick when you do it, or how do you?
But no, I mean, yeah.
I was just curious how you manage that.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between as we get ready to wrap up the show. Great show today. A lot of Super Bowl talk. Again, want to remind you, don't forget WAPT, Annika, Women's All Pro Tour Tournament coming to Abilene April 30th through May 3rd. There is a Pro-Am on the 29th if you want to play in it. It's a great experience. Mulligans and Hodge Pack are coming together to play that day. It'll be Misty's golf debut. So it'll be great. So I want to encourage you, if you have any questions about that, let me know. We'll get you hooked up with that information. As we get done, again, great night tonight. If you need something to do, want to encourage you to head over to ACU tonight. We had Coach Bacon on. If you remember last Friday, Coach Bacon and them had to win 2 games to get into the playoffs, to get a seed game to get into the playoffs. They beat Lubbock Cooper, and then they beat Abilene High Tuesday night. I was fortunate enough to get back in time for the game I was refereeing to watch, and so they won. And so tonight, Wiley versus Cooper, winner gets into the playoffs. Michael Bacon tweeted, have to drive a little farther north than we did Tuesday. 5th must-win in a row for the Cougs as they take on Wiley at ACU. Tip-off at 7:30. It is $5 at the door. You'll need to know this if you decide to go cash only.
Okay.
And they do have coaches if you got your THSCA pass. So I'd encourage you. Great game tonight over in Abilene. I will not be able to make it.
It'd be fun that it's at ACU too.
ACU, it'll be great. Coach Ruffin and Coach Bacon do a good job. Coach Reese, all 3 of those coaches. So big night tonight at ACU. Go check them out. Again, last night I went and watched Coach Barnett, who's been on the show. The Lady Lobos, they won last night. The Loboettes, they beat Crum. His kids just do such a good job playing defense, running the floor, and just clutch shots down the stretch last night. So great job by them. A lot of other schools playing. Check it out on the UIL. We'll get them rolling. It's crazy to think, Misty, because we've got, I mean, we talked about spring training starting, but in the same world of the MLB starting, so is everything in spring sports for schools. You've got baseball, softball, track, tennis, golf, all rolling, but we have a lot of folks still playing. The Hermley Lady Cardinals, I've refereed them Tuesday night. They can play basketball too.
Of course they can. I'm not surprised.
They can play basketball as well, and so they're still playing. I think they're going to be playing EULA shortly. We can look at the bracket, but
any update on when the monument's coming?
I ran into the superintendent we were leaving, actually, as I was leaving. Tracy and I were leaving, and the monument, I believe, has been ordered. I talked to him because I got to introduce myself to the superintendent because that board meeting I went to, he had to moderate that basically, facilitate it. And so, but it's coming, and so all the things will be.
We'll have to make some plans to. All the things.
All the things.
Now,
there we go.
We're so screwed. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, no, Josh. Hope you have your know all the things on your physical. But anyway, so that's happening. So tonight I get to go officiate in Irian County in Buena Vista. So I will not be able to watch Cooper Wiley, but I encourage you. Need something to do? Go over to ACU. Be a great atmosphere.
Yeah, even if you don't have a dog in the fight, just go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, $5 to watch great basketball
and an
atmosphere. So head that way. But anyway, but in all that, it's just crazy how the year is gone. I mean, we're February 16th. We're not long. March is going to be here. March Madness. March Madness will be here. The Masters, of course, we mentioned Tiger Woods earlier on. So there's just a lot going on. So head over tonight, ACU, Cooper, Wiley, 7:30 tip-off, 5 o'clock or $5 for adults, cash only. So be sure you get for that. And don't forget, next week, Annika Swarnstam, and we're working on another guest as well. But Annika Swarnstam, Hall of Fame golfer, 59 club, and putting her name on the WAPT Women's All-Pro Tour, the tournament April 30th through May 3rd. But April 29th, Misty will be getting her golf on.
Heavy on the AM.
Heavy on the AM. Kyle and Mulligans are in for the Hodge Pack to have a team, so it'll be exciting. And there's a lot of stuff. We'll be talking more about that tournament as it gets closer because before we know it, April will be here. So lots going on. Be sure you get your Outlaws and Legends tickets. Download, subscribe, rate, review. We got about 6 seconds left. We talk about it, the podcast. Go help us download, subscribe, rate, and review that. Go like our Facebook page. Get your buddy's friend. Get your friend's phone. Use one of those icons that Misty deleted to download that podcast. Give us a 5-star review. We appreciate you. We will never take you for granted, all that you do for us. Have a great weekend. JB Cloud coming up. Don't forget Greg Austin. Jones will be back with you on Monday. Red Dirt Proud. And next Friday at Hef's Outlaws and Legends Singer-Songwriter Contest. Be sure you're there for that. Jamie Richards, Mark Powell. We'll see you next week with more Hodge Pack, Sports Live, and everything in between.
Bam. GD.
All right, appreciate it.
Bye,
See y'all later.